This is about the Amityville Horror, which is about a haunted toaster.
Not a toaster.
Your background says differently.
My background does say differently. But that's not the point.
I know nothing about this story except it's about a haunted house. So
have you seen the movies?
I skimmed through it once and it was boring, so I didn't watch it all the way through.
Okay. Well, anyone who is willing enough to watch this video, which I doubt they will be, there are 21 different movies based off of the Amityville Horror true events, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, 13 different books. Okay. And I've seen 2 of those movies and have read the true accounts of the family that was involved because they were tired of seeing the movies and books come out that would over-dramatize the stories that they actually had to tell.
Yeah.
So I'm here to explain the differences, I guess. First off, one thing that I'll point out in the very beginning is that I do not, I have high doubts about the credibility of their actual accounts of the story based off of one event, and I'll go into that event first. So the wife of the family, she always keeps a crucifix in the back of her closet, which is something that her grandmother did, it's something her mother did, it's something that she did. And at one point in the story, she goes into the closet and the cross is upside down. It's not on the floor, wasn't knocked off the wall, it's still on the wall, it's just upside down. And if anyone who knows Catholic or Christian mythology, it's St. Peter's cross is the upside down cross. It's a highly recognized religious symbol that is still present in the Vatican today. And there is no reason that a demon or a ghost or anything that is offended by the cross would replace a religious symbol with a different religious symbol. So there's my first grievance when it comes to this story. Anything to add about? You disappeared.
I had to shut the door.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
So can you corroborate that? Say whether that's true or false?
I haven't heard one way or the other.
Oh, okay. Basically, the basic Catholicism verdict is that St. Peter had requested to be crucified upside down because he was not worthy to be crucified in the same way as his Lord and Savior. That being said, everything else seems extremely possible to have happened. But if you read the book that I read about their true accounts based off of their voice recordings of what happened, it kind of sounds like this ghost is a frat boy. It's more like he's playing pranks and jokes and shit.
I thought you meant like he was drugging people and raping them.
No. There's a scene where they come out into the hallway, and the hallway is completely covered in what seems to be green jelly, is the way they describe it. So what's the logical thing to do when there's green jelly oozing out of your walls? You pick it up and you put it in your mouth. That's exactly what the father did. He scraped some off the wall and said, "This looks like green jello," puts it in his mouth. It doesn't taste like anything. And we're supposed to believe that that is ectoplasm, which I am fairly certain that if it was actually ectoplasm, it would have some sort of taste and would probably be revolting.
Yeah.
So they go through this entire thing. The daughter has this imaginary friend named Jody, and Jody is a pig, not like a sexist, like pig like that, like an actual pig, the animal, a pig. Yeah. And it's really creepy. The daughter talks to it all the time. And at one point in the book, the daughter asks the mother, "Do angels talk?" And the mother does not answer her for no given reason, other than the fact that the window in a different room is open, so she walks out to close the window. And then towards the end of the book, the mother asks the daughter to describe Jody, and she said that it's a big pig, which is weird because the father and the mother have discovered pig tracks out in the snow and the mud and shit like that that lead into their garage. And she says that Jody is an angel who looks like a pig. And the mother says, how do you know Jody's an angel? And the little girl says, she told me he was an angel. You probably should have told your daughter right then and there that angels aren't pigs. So they continue to do all this weird shit. Honestly, not a lot happens other than the fact that the dad keeps waking up in the middle of the night screaming. Well, no, he doesn't wake up. He's screaming in his sleep, and his family can't wake him up. One of his daughter keeps getting scratches all over her body, and this weird apparition keeps showing itself. They hire a priest to bless the house, and that priest gets extremely ill and sick and all this weird shit, and he automatically knows this is some sort of demon. And he tells the family, get out of the house, but I'm not going to tell you why. And then the phone lines go dead. And in the movie, this would have been the point where Ryan Reynolds starts to lose his mind and has hallucinations about killing his family and all this shit. That doesn't happen in the book. Not at all. There's no hallucinations about killing his family. There's no weird shit going on psychologically. Just a ghost playing pranks, like moving stuff around the house. Like a statue. Yeah, like a statue of a lion. He moves the statue a couple inches, and the father trips over it, and he's like, who the fuck moved this statue? And basically everyone's like, oh, I didn't move it, it must have been the ghost. There's no way I could have tripped over this on accident. It must have been a ghost. So they call the father and tell him, we need you to come out and bless the house again because there's something weird going on. And the father says, nope, not going out there. So I will bless the house in my church. So he does it in the church, and all of a sudden his room smells like shit. Not like smells really bad, smells like actual human sewage. Which, according to people, that means that the presence of feces or something means the presence of demons. And then his hands start to burn. Like little burn patches show up on his hands and all this shit. So he goes, nope, I'm never going back there. Never going back there again. And once he decides, I'm never going back there, I'll never help this family, all of his symptoms start going away. His bedroom that doesn't smell like shit anymore. His hands heal up.
He needs to give his collar back, if that's what he really did.
Yeah. And then he finally decides, okay, I'm going to call them and see what they're doing. And they're like, he's like, have you gotten out of the house like I told you to yet? And the father's like, no, I can't just sell my house. We just bought this house. And the priest is like, what? No, why would you do that? And while he's on the phone, his hands start burning again. And he's like, oh, shit. So he hangs up the phone, and he, stays away. He's like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to send this to the church. The church can do something about it. I'm no longer helping these people. And the church tell him, you're right. Don't help these people anymore. We'll send out some, ghost investigators or something. So they give the father the number to call for these investigators. The investigators say, okay, we'll be there in 2 weeks. And in that time span, the most interesting things that happen are an apparition shows up underneath the stairs. There's a huge storm outside, but for some reason, all of their windows break from the inside out. Let's see. Oh, one of the daughters gets their hands caught in a window, and the window slams down. Doors keep shutting and locking, and that's really about it. That is the most significant things that happened to this family during this stay, other than the weird green jello shit. Oh, and this weird pig that the father keeps seeing through the windows, but every time he goes outside or inside to find the pig isn't there. And then you find out his daughter's been talking to the pig the whole time, and that the pig tells her that one day she will be able to play with the little boy that died in the house before forever. That's essentially, I just told you the entire contents of the book.
Yeah.
Now, I have problems with this. One,
And they don't tell you what happens after the investigation people come.
The investigation people never get there.
What?
So the investigation, like they were in the house for 28 days. They didn't call the investigation people until the week before they were supposed to leave. They would have gotten there the day before they left, but they called and said there was a snowstorm and that they would be there in 2 days. Again, this takes place in 1975 December and January of 1976.
Yep.
So less than a month. It's winter outside, all this shit. And they never get there until after the family has decided to leave. But there's a few more things that happen. I forgot to mention that the mother can float.
What?
Obviously, she's not doing it herself, but there's several times that the father wakes up, and the first time he sees it, he freaks the fuck out because she's floating like 5 feet above the bed, and like pulls her back down, and he falls onto the floor, and she falls onto the floor, and all this stuff. And then the next time it happens, he just kind of like pushes her back down because he doesn't want to wake her up. And I'm like, that's really dumb. I don't think... Like, if I saw my wife floating, I probably would have reacted the same way he did the first time. But if I saw her floating again, I probably still would have had the same reaction. Like,
Yeah.
there's no getting used to seeing people float around in the air.
Yeah.
And so, basically, they decide, like, okay, we're going to leave the house. And then there's a huge storm. Their car doesn't work. A bunch of stuff happens that stops them from leaving the house, so they spend one more night in the house. They wake up, it's daytime, they get in their car, and they leave. Honestly, nothing significant happens when the ghosts will not let them leave the house during the night. They end up leaving, they go to, I believe it's her mom's, or something, some sort of relative, and he floats. He floats at night. And they're like, oh no, the ghost can reach us all the way across town. So we need to move to California. So they move to California and they never experience anything ever again. And the explanation for this is that evil spirits can't move across running water.
What?
Yeah, have you ever heard that before?
I've heard that about vampires, not demons.
I have never heard that about anything.
Yeah.
So I was
I've heard that
really
vampires can't cross running water, but I've never heard that about spirits.
Yeah, it threw me off so much. They're like, oh, it's suspected that blah 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 this because they can't move across running water, and I'm like, I've never heard that before. Pretty sure demons can do whatever the fuck they want. And then they decide to the investigators get there, which of course includes Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yeah.
And they go through this whole thing, seances and all this shit. And basically, the only things that happen to them are one of the investigators end up throwing up and leaving, and the rest of them feel really bad.
Yeah.
So they like get depressed and shit while they're doing it. Oh, and mind you, this is all supposed to be taking place based off of true events.
Yeah.
Here are my grievances. I already told you about the cross, which historically doesn't make any sense. The ghost never does anything bad to them. The closest thing the ghost ever does to hurting someone is when he slams the window seal on the little girl's hands.
Yeah.
Other than that, he's breaking windows, he's moving objects, and he's squirting jelly everywhere. That doesn't sound like a malevolent being. That sounds like a dead frat boy playing jokes.
Yeah. Check this out, bro.
Yeah, like he's with his ghost bros. He's like, oh, check it out, I'm gonna fuck with him, and he's like squirting ectoplasm all over the walls.
At least we hope it's ectoplasm.
Oh, well, what do you think ectoplasm is? It's ghost jizz. And the father puts it in his mouth. So, basically, I forgot to mention a marching band.
What?
Yeah, there's a marching band. It makes absolutely no fucking sense whatsoever. Basically, the father, every night, wakes up to the sound of a marching band playing in his living room. And it does not stop until he goes to investigate. And then the next night it happens again, and again, and again. He never tells anybody about this. He does not tell anybody about it. It's so fucked up, so fucking stupid. And
that's quality torture.
Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, so the credibility of these stories, it's losing credibility for me. Because it doesn't sound like anyone was actually harmed. One time, the mother woke up with, like, scratches on her chest. But by the end of the day, those scratches were gone. And they didn't hurt her, but they burnt like fire for anyone who touched them that wasn't her. So, not scientifically possible.
It's not logical.
Yeah, not logical. I used to believe that this was like, oh, it's a true ghost story. All these movies are based off of real ghost stories. But reading the true accounts of these people, I don't think any of this actually ever happened. I really don't. I do not believe in the story. The story is batshit. It's so dumb. It doesn't make any fucking sense at all. And to add to that, like I said, this is basically the prequel to the Ed and Lorraine Warren movie universe. So they're the same people who did The Conjuring and Annabelle. Yep. I'm not 100% positive because I haven't actually seen it. I think somebody told me that La Llorona is part of their universe too. Anyway, they've got all of these movies and they're all related off of one person or a ghost or something, but those people are Ed and Lorraine Warren. So after hearing the true accounts of this story, I don't think any of those movies or books or anything, I don't think any of them are true. I think they're all bullshit. Ed and Lorraine Warren is a family of fucking frauds who go around and exploit people who are either depressed or psychologically disturbed and tell them it's ghosts in your house. I swear to you, it's ghosts.
Supposedly they're like ghost paranoid experts or whatever. And if the movies are to be believed, like the wife is psychic and like the husband is like a science genius that can like take video or audio recordings of the ghosts and get the evidence to get an exorcist in and all that crap, like in the Conjuring.
Yeah, it's so.
That's movie version anyway. I don't know about real life version.
I've got to say that. So you mentioned this background.
Yeah.
The Amityville toaster has just as much credibility as being true as the actual Amityville horror. That story makes no fucking sense. This story, this toaster, this guy made more sense than that fucking book and those fucking movies. I understand why they've made 21 movies out of this stuff. Because you can put anything you want in. The only thing that needs to be the same is the location.
Yeah.
Because nothing significant actually happened.
And then you can say, based on a true story, and people will buy more tickets, basically.
Exactly. But based off of their true accounts, nothing significantly eventful happened for me to believe that this could have been real.
Or like, care about their play.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't understand how this got famous, to be honest with you, because I mean, listening to it now, I'm like, this is fucking dumb. Like, this is one of the most widely believed horror stories of all time.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. It's just a story. I don't believe it was real. I do not think it was real. That is my rant about Amityville horror. I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10 because they're lying. High five.